From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of evenings LA with incredible great news tonight from Santa Monica, California about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. The great news tonight is that a fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state, and thousands of viewers of this channel have gotten their applications in on that check. I'll show you how tonight, as a member, you can get your check application in, not for just one, but two of these incredible fourth stimulus checks. We got this over this 1 hour broadcast, a special report, stay to the very end. We got more checks at the very end of this recording. Yes, you heard me right. As we go into an uncertain time of stagflation, interest rates falling, recessionary pressures, the great news that brings us as a channel together is that a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and I have shown thousands of viewers how to get that fourth stimulus check. I'm going to show you tonight how to do it as well. It starts with step one, going under this video's description and becoming a member. Step two, subscribing and getting ready to get that newsletter tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. We had a lot of breaking news today, and you know what involved. Of course, it involved the crashing stock market for another day. A reoccurring theme, whether it's a concern about stagflation, a concern about interest rates, whether it's the shattering mortgage numbers that are out of control, or whether it is the worries about where this economy is going. The data continue to unravel across the board, that you know how that works. The good news on that front is that when the economic data is bad, as it was today, that it's good news for your Build Back Better checks. At least $15,000 additional checks. I'll go over those incredible checks in tonight's recording. And the big push for SS300 as well. That would raise your benefits up $300 more per month. But later in this recording, we have a big surprise as new free items have been released by the White House. Are they free or are they just discounted? You know, I like things free. I don't like things discounted. Which one is it? It's coming up later in this recording, and it's deliciousness. It's a big night with incredible great news from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Stay to the very end, and don't forget to become a member because there's a fourth stimulus check now in every U.S. state. We're going to get it. And good evening, everybody. Beautiful night here for Santa Monica, California. Good evening. And this is America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. It's Evenings LA. With a fourth stimulus check now landing in every U.S. state over this broadcast, 1 hour, stay to the very end. I'm going to show you those incredible checks that are landing by direct deposit and how you can get it as well. Not just one, but two. Your homework assignment was due tonight. I hope you're ready to pass it in. It is two applications in on that fourth time helping people get checks today. And viewers of this channel have been cashing these massive checks, and I got to give you a warning tonight. The fourth stimulus checks in every U.S. state may be gone. If you do not wait any longer, do not wait any longer because the checks cast. There is a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state, but in addition to those checks, which we're going to get to in a second, Build Back Better Act would give additional checks. That is in addition to the fourth stimulus checks in every U.S. state. The Build Back Better Act is a cluster of three with three add-ons detailed on this channel for over a year. But what is the latest details tonight? The latest details tonight is that Americans now know that this economy is stalling up. And stalling up economy needs stimulus. Everyone knows that. You know this, the American electorate knows it, and Congress knows it. Republicans and Democrats both know that this is economy now stalling up, and that's why they want to get Build Back Better Act done, if you're a Democrat, right away. $15,000 to $80,000 of checks in that credible clusters. Then those add-ons, $25,000 for the purchase of your first home, $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities, MSC checks proposed in there, but certainly not done yet. And then all those clusters. Cluster number three, free internet for all, farmers checks, independent contractors checks. Cluster number two, paid leave. Cluster number one, home repairs, hazard pay, $4,000 elder care. Just incredible sums of money. $15,000 to $80,000 of it in the Build Back Better Act. Now, the Build Back Better Act is supported by two events happening tonight. for May 9th, 2020. This morning, when the markets opened, everyone rushed in and sold. It stayed down across the board. Many stocks are now down 22% in a single day. Many stocks are now down below, not pre-pandemic levels. We're talking about 2018, 2014 levels. And the burst of the bubble is happening. The bear market is upon us. And it's not just for stock owners. Whether it's the housing starts are down 4 consecutive months. We're going into 5th consecutive month. We're talking about auto sales. Auto sales are down month after month. That's new cars. And last Friday, it added also used cars. What about the employment situation? It's been good so far, but the labor participation rate has been weak. And then today, Uber announced that if you want to work, it's going to be a privilege. Into the midterm elections are about as bad as they can be. And Democrats know they're going to get creamed in the midterm elections if they don't get Build Back Better Act done. It's a fait accompli. Why? The president's disapproval ratings among Republicans and Democrats registered by a CNN poll is 70%. And that 56% of those polled said they blame Joseph Biden for the economy. So those people polled say there's something wrong with the economy to start, and they're blaming this guy. They're saying you're not getting something done. Well, the way that Build Back Better helps is that it reverts a shrinking economy. Let's go over the analysis tonight, starting right now. There's certain things that the president can do, and those things include an executive action. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go over those incredible 4 stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. Hope you're a member, become to 0 by the end of the year. A White House insider just days ago said 3.7%. I think it's going to 0. Wall Street saying 4. No. Deutsche Bank co-signs what I say. They say 2 years of recession starting next year. That is why Build Back Better Act has that support. Democrat, you're looking at all of this, and if you're a Republican, you're looking at it as well. Republicans have a roll the dice situation, and I wouldn't want to roll their dice. Why? Because they have 2 ways to look at this situation. One, hope the poll ratings now remain as bad as they are now. Don't support Build Back Better Act. Don't give Americans any help, and hope the economy gets worse, and then come right in and try to win at election night. Guess who did that before? I haven't featured this on this channel for almost 2 years, but you've seen this tactic as they are by the midterms, and that the Democrats get creamed. Now, the Republicans, that plan may blow up in their face. Why? Because if the polls revert and slowly things start to slightly improve, or the blame game tunes back over to Jay Powell, not Joe Biden, then if the Republicans sit back and do nothing and the Democrats get Build Back Better Act passed, Republicans themselves will get creamed in the midterm elections. If I was to roll the dice, I would just do Build Back Better. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. I would do some version of it and then walk into the midterms and say, I got you something. The truth of the matter, though, you and I know, is that Joe Biden is not to blame for the economy and its major distress tonight. It's this guy. His name is Jay Powell. And the reason why the stock market is crashing is because he, not Nancy Pelosi, is your new Temple of Doom. He's your new Temple of Doom because he's giving you everything you don't want. First, prolonged inflation is happening. Let's take it back, actually. What did he give you first? He gave you first a wrong prediction in 2021. In 2021, I told you in the summer of last year, when we started talking about Build Back Better Act, that we're going to have a massive inflation by December, 8%. Jay Powell got it wrong and fed you the news that is going to be 1% to 2%. That pedantic word. I said, not happening, Jay. It's going to be not temporary. It's going to be sustained inflation. Well, he got it wrong. Then he waited too long to come in to deal with it. Then he had his Fed governors like Bullard and Daly keep on saying, you know what, let's do half basis point. Jay Powell came in at 1/4 last month. Unhappy with that reaction, then he came in with 1/2 this month. You guidance at that May FOMC meeting last week, and he didn't give you guidance for June or July. This was, again, another miscalculation by Jay Powell. He should have said, we're doing half basis point in June, we're doing half basis point in July, and then we're going to tee off to 1/4. He should why Wall Street imploded last week. Because guess what? The uncertainty abounds, and the situation is that Wall Street insiders, Wall Street investors, middle America, moms and pops, you and I all understand, wait a second, something's wrong with this economy. It was not that case back in February when I said to someone, we're going to recession for 2 years. What? The person said to me, what are you talking about? Recession? I said that in February. On this channel, I said in February, then March, then we're talking about nearly a half a generation ago. Yes, very bad numbers. Then Dow Jones crashed when Jay Powell made that predicted announcement of half basis point last week. But what happened thereafter? I, in my opinion, think that they did not believe Jay Powell any longer. Jay Powell said, we're going to get inflation down to 1.9%. Really? Who buys that? I don't buy that. I believe it's going down to 4% because I don't think any of his tools work. And I don't think anyone on Wall Street thinks that either. The current inflation in the United States is caused not by anything that Jay Powell can fix. It's caused by supply chain disruption. And that supply chain disruption is so severe that it's coming from different courses. Coming out of the pandemic, number one. Coming out of invading Ukraine at number two. Then that Chinese lockdown right now in big cities like Beijing, caused by the subvariant of Omicron. All these situations are not good, and none of them can be fixed by Jay Powell. The situation is that if Jay Powell cannot fix these tools, cannot fix these items, cannot fix inflation with his toolbox, what does he give you? All he gives you is more interest rates, higher interest rates, and continued inflation. And that, in my opinion, is what Wall Street's now realizing. They now realize that Jay Powell's not going to fix inflation, that inflation is going to be prolonged, and that all you're going to get is the harms of what Jay Powell does, and he's not alone. Because historically, the Fed has not been able to win at this. Historically, the Federal Reserve, now people realize, has not been able to battle inflation over decades before this by raising interest rates. So why do something, again, that historically doesn't work? No one understands. I don't know. What has happened already is the 10-year Treasury note surging to its highest levels. Just last week, I told you it was at 3%. On Thursday, it was 3.13. Tonight, it's nearly 3.30. This is out of control. Mortgage rates surging to 5.25. Your credit card debt, your debt at home, all these details are bad. Now, how does this help you? After all that gloom and moon. What is it, moon and gloom? I don't know. After burrito and tamale today, I'm a little confused. After all, sky and bly, it just is time for a stimulus check. It's just time for a stimulus check. And the great news is that a fourth stimulus check is available in every U.S. state. And that great news is that I'm here to show you how to get it. A fourth stimulus check is now available in every U.S. state. You really need it because this economy is going to the toilet. And you need that incredible force. All this horrid economic news signal good support for you because the way that number will be coming out on Wednesday, the CPI, that'll give you an indication of what's going on in inflation in the month of April. Yes, 1 month back. The CPI is not a pure inflation number, but it gives you a benchmark. What is the prediction at the moment tonight, going in 48 hours before that CPI is released for the month of April? They are looking at an 8.1% increase year to date. That would be slightly better than the March number of 8.5%. One economist said, we just need to keep paying attention to the data. Some of the more recent inflation data shows a little bit of softening, but a lot more needed. So maybe there's some evidence that things are starting to soften by a hair. A hair? No, it's like a smidgen of a hair. 8.1, 8.5 to 8.1, that's not much of a movement. But we need to keep paying attention to the data, see where it comes before we can draw any conclusions. No, we already have drawn our conclusions. The economy is not working. Now, why is this important for your SS300? SS300 is to swap your COLA for inflation. How does this work? Your current benefits have a benchmark. That benchmark is something called COLA, cost of living adjustment. It is a number that doesn't work because historically it doesn't move. So what happened? The number was 5% in December. So you got a 5% increase in December. Your benefits benchmark should have been inflation, though. Why? Because Jay Powell, no, because Joe Biden, he was going to swap COLA to inflation. When, as President of the United States, his first week at joebiden.com, his presidential platform. Had he swapped COLA for inflation, then you would already be getting $200 more per month because inflation was 8% in December. So if inflation stays at 8% right now and Joe makes the phone call, you get another $200 more per month. If inflation tracks at 4% later this year, you get another $100 more per month. That's SS300. So why is this Wednesday number so important for your benefits? So important for Build Back? This Wednesday number is everything. First, it's important for your benefits, this Wednesday number, because it'll show you if inflation came down dramatically in the month of April. My guidance is it did not. I believe it's going to be showing you something along the lines of a 7.9 all the way up to an 8.3 percentage points, which is still fine. Swap that COLA for inflation, you get $200 more per month. Now, what about that Wednesday number? Well, if the Wednesday number comes in a little bit better than expected, meaning that let's say it shows us inflation drop dramatically, let's say to 7.6%, then it's time to make that phone call right away, Joe. Hashtag Joe made the call, because you don't want to wait around until inflation gets too low or lower. You want to lock it in right today, because once you lock in inflation at the highest rate, you got it. Once your benefits go up, they remain up indefinitely. That is how it works. So if you got $200 more per month this month, you would get $200 a month, not just this month, not just hysterical. Hysterical. What are you talking about? Why is it funny? It's funny because Jay Powell continues to say, I'm getting inflation down to 1.9% by the end of the year. Oh, really, Jay? I can't even say it with a straight face. 1.9, come off of it. And guess what? He had one of his Fed governors come on broadcast media today and repeat it again. Oh, you're stealing his jokes, aren't you? The Minneapolis Fed president, Neil Kashkari, was back with the same joke resaid again today. I'm confident we're going to get to inflation back down to 2% target by the end of the year. I'm not, and I've already heard the joke. It's not funny anymore. He says, but I'm not confident on how much burden we're going to have to carry it out. You're going to have a lot of burden because it's not going to happen. As if that's any more ridiculous, let's look to England. Yeah, you know that place overseas? That place that got rid of us a couple hundred years ago? Get over the Atlantic. Go find another country. Well, guess what the Bank of England said last week? They said they're raising interest. That's what they told us hundreds of years ago. And it may be time for us to find another country for some of people who think that interest rates solve inflation. They don't. The current situation on those interest rates are that you're going to be paying higher credit card debt, higher mortgage rates that are flexible, higher student loan payments when they're due, and other things that are on a credit basis number. And that is as the bond traders continue to trade up the 10-year Treasury note tonight. Now, why is this so important? What's important about it is that with that CPI number released this Wednesday, we will get guidance if inflation's still hot. If it's still hot, high, 8%, and unless we get that stalling up to work, it ain't going to pan out. No, he's basically saying that valuation, you don't understand how important it is to have a job, and if you don't understand how important it is to get that job's check and do it well, then I can't help you. Now, someone who can help you is Joe Biden. That latest poll ratings at 50. It started by Liz Warren during that campaign trail for president. She said during the pandemic, this was before we had inflation, that things went up in price and that people who were on benefits were left behind. Well, now the pandemic's easing off, and we still have that, plus now we have inflation. So let me read you this quote from a guy who works for to work, and those are generally the people on benefits. And they're the people who need that swap from COLA to inflation, $200 more per month right today, because he did get right, that reserve president. It costs too much money for them. They're getting the burden of these inflationary benefits. Let's do it another way. A new report released minutes ago, since Afternoon's LA aired, said that a White House insider now says it's about to run out of money for them. Imagine, you're going into recession. You already got inflation, and then the subvariant of Omicron spurs dramatically in the winter months in the United States, and suddenly you cannot get a shot. That's the warning tonight. Do not wait to get these forced to mix. What is step one? Step one is going under the video's description and hit commercial break. We'll go over those incredible checks there, and whenever you got your homework in by tonight, your homework